Hey there, and welcome to Simple Hatches in Simple Forms, where we're just going to go through making an opening and closing hatch with a few little details, including the tops of the ladder. And at some point I will do a video about false perspective and just painting in a ladder / stairwell into this cavity and making it look like it's receding into the depths of darkness. First up then, here is the terrain board before having anything done to it apart from having tiles attached. Tiles simple plastic card or styrofoam if you're in the US, or anywhere that calls it styrofoam really. It's the same half mil depth that I've been using for making the plastic mesh on the other tiles, and just it's 42 mil squares and just clipping all the corners so you get these kind of indentations. And next up, what you need to do is get a piece of spare foam that you have, cut it to fit neatly into one of those things. Now in the case of me, I've made it ever so slightly too narrow perhaps in one dimension, but it fits snugly in the other. And then what you're going to do is you're going to cut out that middle piece. So you end up with something like this, where you have essentially a door and the trap, the fitting for the door to go into. Then you can take this other part and you're going to cut it lengthways in half and scrape one piece back so it's thinner than the other sheet one's part. Now this is taking a bit of scraping, even sand it back, try and get it as even as possible. And then at this point what we want to do is just fill the inside edge and outside edge on this, and fill the bottom of this and the edges of this. We'll then let that dry and sand it. So I'll get that filled and sanded. I'll be back in a second. Here you go then, two pieces filled. We're just using polyfiller for this. And the reason is it doesn't need any flex, it's just going to be sat in one place essentially, just being rigid, and polyfiller is considerably cheaper than green stuff. Also, it sands back very easy compared to green stuff. The perhaps better alternative might be Milliput if you want something with a more hardcore finish as such. But this will do the job for what we're trying to do here, because it shouldn't be something that gets bashed around too much anyway. And next up though, just going to get the door, put it into place, making sure it doesn't have to actually go into the gap. You'll notice it doesn't sit very easily in that gap, but that's fine because it gives it that sort of slightly raised quality. We're just going to add some details onto the door. Now, because of the binding process, I have various bits of paper. So for hinging this, I've cut 2 slithers of paper, and I'm just going to literally super glue them across that gap. Here you go then, very simple but functional hinge. So the door can be opened. If it's flipped back far enough, it'll stay up. Or not. But at the moment it's still a bit, just being careful with it. So I'm just going to add some details to this. So I'll add just like a handly thing at the front so I can wedge it a little bit further shut. And it will be easy to pull out, which is just going to be a very simple little block of powderlight. I'm just going to trim a little chunk so I'll have a handle at the front. Not going to do anything more complicated than that for the sake of this, but for the purposes it will be fine. And here we have the piece also stuck into place on the tiles, which obviously will get painted random arrow for something I was using it for before. I did carve the handles a little bit just so that there's a little bit of a sense of thing, and now that opens you can hinge it back far enough, bend them a bit further, there you go, it stays open by itself. Flip it back down, just squidge it shut, there you go, job's good. So just one last little detail then, I've just taken this little bit of power light and I've rounded off one end, I'm going to trim like a couple of mil off, and then I'm going to re-round it, and I'm going to cut another couple of mil off, and then I'm going to stick it just inside here, so it's like the top of a ladder, top of a service shaft. Maybe even make it look like a top flight stairs, so that it looks like Terminators might actually be able to get down there. But we shall see. It's certainly at least, the very least, going to be a ladder. And this can just be like either a feature or an escape hatch, a way out, or an entry point for stealers if you want to put an entry point in a room if you're playing a more creative game of Spacehulk. Or it could be an objective or a way off of a ship for any other game you like. If you're playing say Infinity and you're using the corridor network and you want to have it got a limited amount of time, or this is a fixed exit for everybody because all the other exits are locked down, or it's just a way to a different floor, there you go. It's plenty of alternative uses for it. So just put in these final little details and show you what it looks like. Here we have it in final details in. It's just literally this nodule and this nodule, and that would be the top of my ladderway, and I will paint in false perspective into the hatch so it looks like there is some ladder or stairwell receding into the darkness. So I hope this has been some use and interest to you, and that you're making any kind of modelling stuff and it's coming out really well. Next time I will show you painting this so you can see how to paint them relatively easy, quick, simple, and also how you can see how to do the false perspective for yourselves. Thank you for watching, have a good one, and take care. Bye bye.